Hi folks, Tom Goodwin here, the assistant curator at the Owl's Head Transportation Museum. Well, this is it. Together we've wandered through the past and we've dug up some pretty interesting finds. And with the help of some incredibly patient experts, we've looked directly into the foreboding eyes of the toasty roasty man and come to appreciate the playful, carefree tinkerings of Henry Ford's chief engineer, the child, Harold Wills. And the proverbial icing on the cake of history is that I learned how to drive a Model T. So let's recap.
Let's face it, our first stop was one of trial and error. To atone for these missteps, we went back to the beginning. During our travels, we unveiled the truth behind some commonly accepted nuggets about Ford.
Was the Model T the first car?
The Benz motor wagon was the first car.
How did Henry Ford come to invent the assembly line?
Oh, Henry Ford didn't invent the assembly line.
And found ourselves smack dab in the middle of an insidious plot of kidnappery.
Wait, so Ford held Old Man Eli for ransom?
He almost had it.
I think the most fascinating part of what we learned about the Model T's history is how its unchanged design both kept it relevant and ultimately led to its demise. As the first no-nonsense budget buggy that was affordable enough for the working class, it solidified gas-powered automobiles as the dominating mode of transportation in the 20th century. Because of its simplicity, affordability, and availability, owners could take Ford's base model and turn it into any number of wondrous oddities.
So this is the Model T beach wagon. This is a Model T ice saw. This is a Model T fire truck.
It's a Model T IC.
It's a Model T ice saw. This is a Creeder's popcorn wagon built right into a Model T chassis. You are in a Model T snowmobile.
We also learned some questionable motivations about the man behind the legend.
Go on.
He was a fairly well-known Nazi sympathizer during World War II.
Seriously.
Supposedly he was sorry.
After almost 20 years of financial success, the Model T had defined an era. It revolutionized the way we travel and set the course for moving people throughout the 20th century.
When it comes to Model Ts, cup holders don't come standard.
We also saw just how much modern cars do for us that old-timey cars didn't, particularly the spark advance. With a Model T, it was the operator's job to manage when the spark plugs fired in the engine cylinders, something cars today do for us.
You mean that thing can hurt me?
That can hurt you.
Hey!
And then there's the configuration of the Model T's controls.
Wait, none of them are the gas pedal?
Oh, that's right.
After some hand-holding, and maybe forgetting a detail or two, I finally put it all together. And by gum, if this wasn't one epic, humbling journey of learning and perspective.
Okay.
So where's the Model T today, besides in the halls of museums like ours? With a production run of over 15 million off of the assembly line, there are plenty of surviving examples. Some are privately owned by collectors or families whose first vehicle 100 years ago was the Model T. There are even Model T clubs who gather with the common fascination of the automobile. Because of its DIY ability, it sparked an entire generation of tinkerers who not only kept these cars running, but who made their own innovations to the Model T. Over the years of its production, this taught consumers to want these upgrades as stock conveniences to their choice in an automobile. Ford's success in this one machine in some ways created the competition that forced him to move on to the Ford Model A in 1927. But hey, that's a different series entirely.
Well, that's it. You and me, we're done. But thankfully, history isn't. Can't we just do a series about hiding in the woods?